Right, David, crack on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So good morning, and thank you for inviting me to talk about our Arctic Fox tours. In 2016, I decided to research photographing Iceland's Arctic fox. I found this article online by Australian photographer Joshua Holko, who was the first person to photograph them in winter on the Hornstrandir Nature Reserve in Iceland. This article inspired me to research how to get there myself. So I began contacting various people in Iceland, and in 2017, I made my first solo trip there. This is a map of Iceland, and Hornstrandir is located in the far northwest of the country, as you can see circled on the map. It is 360 square miles in size and was established as a nature reserve in 1975. My wife and I have been running winter Arctic fox tours to Hornstrandir since 2018. The area is officially the most remote place in Europe and is more like an island in that it can only be reached by sea. It has the world's largest population of Arctic fox, with around 50 territories having a breeding pair, and approximately 350 Arctic fox in total live there, making it the best location in the world for photographing them and building a portfolio of different images. This is a blue morph Arctic fox, and the lodge in the background is where clients stay. Around 80% of the world's Arctic fox are white and 20% are blue. They're actually brown but called blue, so don't ask me why that is. In Iceland, the reverse is true. This is because Iceland has no lemons, so these are coastal Arctic fox. They feed on the dark beaches, so being a dark colour keeps them camouflaged. The journey starts in Reykjavik, flying with Air Iceland Connect on this plane here. It takes around 40 minutes to reach the remote West Fjords of Iceland, landing in a small town called Isafjordur, which has a population of around 3,000 people. This is a shot of Isafjordur with the town's runway on the right-hand side. And when you fly in, you actually fly around this mountain and around and then land on the airport. We then arranged for everyone to be picked up in a minibus and taken to this tiny village called Sudavik, which has a population of just 200 people. The Arctic Fox Centre is based in Sudavik and is both a research centre for the species and an exhibition. All clients go on a guided tour where facts and information about the fox are explained. There's also a small shop inside selling souvenirs. At the back of the Arctic Fox Centre, you will see a real live blue morph Arctic fox, which was rescued when it was cub. There's actually two in the image, but only one is alive now. That unfortunately the second one died last year. We then return back to Isafjordur, have a spot of lunch, and then sail across the Atlantic Ocean on the boat, on the white boat in the background there. It takes around 1 hour, depending on weather conditions, to reach Hornstrandir. When we are close to the shore, we transfer ourselves and luggage to a Zodiac, and this takes us to the beach. The guy with the red top on, he's the housekeeper, and he's lowering the Zodiac into the water, and he then brings it around to the side so that people can climb on board. We advise all clients on what to wear before the tour, and this includes Arctic muck boots, as they keep your feet warm and dry throughout the trip. And you can see in the shot, everybody's got the Arctic muck boots on in the shot there. This is Louise, my wife, and some clients arriving on the Zodiac. And that's me. And one of the clients waiting to help them off the Zodiac there. And that's me in this shot with the housekeeper, Runa, after we've just landed on the beach. In this shot, my wife Louise is walking on the beach, and you can see how close the lodge is and how high the snow was this year. We took this shot on the tour this year when Alison and Simon were on the trip. Here you can see a client sitting outside the house, Vince Burton, and having a rest from the freezing winds, and Louise as well, waiting for Arctic fox sightings. Here you can see some of the clients photographing an Arctic fox at eye level. After it just walked up from the beach, which is where they actually feed, with blown snow and spindrift in the background to create a really nice background when they take the shot. This is the lodge where we actually stay. It was in total disrepair, but the housekeeper and his family have spent about £200,000 completely renovating the house, so that it now has power for charging batteries, solar power. It has a generator, and even has a working toilet sometimes, and a shower as well. The water from the shower comes up from the sea, so sometimes you can smell the sulphur with it being Iceland. The 6 bedrooms in the house in total, so it's a fantastic place for taking clients. This is an image of the dining room where we all gather for breakfast, lunch and dinner as well. This is the lounge where we can all sit on an evening and look at our images on, if we take a laptop or something like that. Yeah. This is a gas-powered oven, which the housekeeper uses to make all the meals on. As you can imagine, that was tough bringing that up from her boat up to the house. Apparently it took 6 people to carry that up. This is Runa, the housekeeper, and in this image is preparing Icelandic cod for everyone, which is actually being freshly caught, so really nice. And for some people, although not Alison and Simon, he also makes a chocolate cake for clients on the last night before we leave. Alison and Simon were, we had a different housekeeper this year, so he didn't make a chocolate cake, but that's pretty unusual. Outside, away from the house, there's actually a sauna. This is a wood-burning sauna, which, as I can confirm, reaches 100 degrees when you sit in it. But it's only for the brave, really. You've got to walk across the Arctic terrain with just a towel around you and then walk back in sub-zero temperatures. That's inside the sauna, where you sit on the bench. That's me and Bob. Bob came on the trip the year before last, and we went looking for a white Arctic fox. We found one, as Bob would confirm, but it was far off in the far off in the distance, wasn't it, Bob? This is a shot of one of this year's groups. We actually took 2 groups over to the Hornstranda this year. This was the first group, and Simon and Alison are there. And this shot was actually taken just before we returned back to the mainland. This is a shot I took in 2017, and it was actually featured as an article in BBC Wildlife magazine in July 2017, where they ran an article about Icelandic Arctic fox and how they're brown coloured, or blue as they're called, and not white as most people would expect. This image I call Endurance, and I took this in 2017, and it features an Arctic fox where its face was caked in snow with only its one eye visible. It was shortlisted in National Geographic's Travel Photographer of the Year the British Photography Awards, and also Outdoor Photographer of the Year. This shot I took also in 2017, and is now part of the permanent exhibition at the Arctic Fox Centre, and helps explain how Arctic fox survive in the extreme cold. Also in 2017, the Icelandic Institute of Natural History, which is equivalent to our Natural History Museum, asked me for this image to feature it on their annual Christmas card, which they send out to people worldwide. It was the first time in the Institute's 8-year history that an Arctic fox had been featured, which, considering it's the only real mammal in Iceland, is pretty amazing. So quite an honour. In 2018, the Arctic Fox Centre had a stand-in bird fair, and I worked on the stand with these two people. This Midge is on the left. He was the former manager of the Arctic Fox Centre, and he's actually from Worcestershire, but he moved away last year. So there's a new guy managing the Arctic Fox Centre now, and the lady on the other side is the owner of the largest whale watching company in Iceland. The following images are a small part of my portfolio and illustrate what this trip offers photographers. Those who know Kevin Morgans will know he has a stunning puffin portfolio, and this location offers clients a chance to do the same with Arctic fox. I consider this my best ever Arctic fox image, which I took using a wide angle and a wireless remote. The Arctic fox was struggling through winds and blown snow with the Hornstrand backgrounds and Atlantic Ocean in the background. I took it using the Sigma 14 to 24mm art lens f2.8, set it at 24mm, and the aperture was f16 to make sure the mountains in the background were sharp. On this trip, you can capture a wide range of images, including shots in heavy snow, close-up portraits, also high key images like this, where the surrounding is completely white. In this image, this Arctic fox actually dug out a snow hole and laid in it to rest, which they often do. I converted the shot to black and white, and the white surroundings really make this a nice high key shot, which is minimalistic. In this shot, it was a total whiteout. So basically the Arctic fox was struggling to stand up. It was complete blizzard, so you couldn't hardly see a thing in front of you. So I was quite lucky that the lens managed to actually focus on this fox. I was using a Sigma 150 to 600 sport lens, which I normally take on the trips. I've got a 500 Mark II Canon. I shoot with a Canon 1DX, but it's in this location, the zoom lens is better for versatility, because sometimes the fox are closer, sometimes they're further away. But this location also offers you the chance to get images of the fox in the harsh environment like this, when it was snowing quite heavy. Also another wide angle, which shows you some of the Hornstrand Mountains. And in this image, I captured the fox after he caught some prey. It's actually a guillemot, which he caught on the beach. Because the Arctic fox in Iceland don't eat lemons. There's no lemons in the country, so they feed on seabirds and crustaceans from the beach, and then quite often they stash them and eat them later on, because the food's quite rare in winter. So they kind of store them away, and then when they're really hungry, they go back to them again. In this image, a male and female are displaying courtship behaviour. The male is trying to impress the female by showing how dominant he is. This occurs between late February and March. But I've been going to Iceland now for 4 years to Hornstrandir, and this is the only time in 4 years that I've witnessed it close up. So I'm pretty pleased with this image. I had it on f8 to make sure both foxes were in focus. But again, I was using the 150 to 600 mm sports lens. This image of an Arctic fox shows it cuddling up to its tail, which Arctic fox often do when they're really cold. The tail is so thick and insulated that they use it as a scarf, like humans would use as a scarf. Arctic fox have the most insulated coat of any mammal in the animal kingdom, and can actually withstand temperatures down to -70 degrees. This was a side-on close-up portrait I took after it had been snowing heavy. And this one, you can really see how the snow's blown onto its face. It was an Arctic storm when I took this, and the ice is forming around its nose and covering its eyes, and its eyes are actually shut. And quite often in Iceland, with Arctic fox, you'll find that their eyes are shut because they don't need to rely on their eyesight. They have quite poor eyesight, so they rely more on the sense of smell and hearing. The sense of smell is phenomenal. They can actually smell food between 6 and 25 miles away, which is incredible. When you're actually at the lodge, you can sometimes see them appearing from over the mountains and coming over, and when there's lower tide, because they can actually smell birds or fish that have landed there. So this is a shot I took on the trip this year. And every now and again, when the snow builds up on an Arctic fox, they shake it all off, because they need to keep the coat in pristine condition, to keep it insulated and warm. So I took this shot, and a few of the guests got the shot as well. This is quite a funny image. Basically what happened was, I was in the lodge in the dining room, and I looked out the window and saw the Arctic fox walking around. So I had the idea of, if it looks in the kitchen window, then I could get an unusual image of it. So I put the flash gun on my lens, on my camera, ran downstairs, hoping that the fox would peer into the window. And it was quite a rare chance for it to happen, but I thought it's a possibility. So I stood there with a flash gun aiming at the wall, and incredibly, the fox actually looked at me for a few seconds, and then it disappeared. But it allowed me to capture the image, and I bounced the flash off the wall to light up the condiments in the foreground. This image I took at sunset, just so you can see the sun's rays coming over the Arctic fox there when it's walking past, and you get the nice rim light as well around the fox. This is actually a bum shot of an Arctic fox walking away during a storm, but I've put this in this presentation as it shows off one of their feet, and their feet are actually quite amazing. They're designed so that they don't sink into the snow. We as humans would have to wear snowshoes, but their feet are actually basically the equivalent of snowshoes. They don't sink. Also, the bodies send warm blood from the heart down to the feet, so that their feet don't freeze when they're walking on really cold snow, which is pretty amazing. But nature is amazing, as everyone knows. This was taken last year on the second trip that I ran. It's actually a snowboard, and it's the first time in 4 years that I've seen a snowboard on Hornstrandir. Unfortunately, it was also a time when there was no Arctic fox in the area. So an Arctic fox in the middle of that shot would have been fantastic, but sadly nature doesn't do what you want it to do. This is a white Arctic fox that I photographed on my first trip to Hornstrand when I went on my own as a solo trip without a group. So that it's pretty rare to see an Arctic fox, a white Arctic fox, because only 20% on Hornstrand are white. So occasionally they do turn up, but most are blue moth. But I took this. This was actually near the beach, so I was quite lucky to get this. Also on Hornstrand, it's a fantastic place to get the Northern Lights. There's no light pollution there. It's completely black dark at night, as you can imagine. So I took this shot over the lodge. I used a 30-second exposure with a wireless remote, and I shot it at f2.8 with a 15mm lens. So after we leave Hornstrand at the end of the trip, we go back to Isafjorda, and we stay one night in this hotel, which is a fantastic hotel. And opposite is actually an Icelandic bakery, and we take clients there, and you get it's beautiful the stuff that they do there, like Icelandic pastries and that kind of thing. And on the evening of ours last night, we take everybody out for Icelandic pizza at this place. As Alison and Simon would confirm, they do amazing pizzas here. The Simon and Alison said they were the best they've actually tasted. This is a shot of a guy with one of them in the restaurant. Bob went there as well on his trip.
I'll tell you what, it is true. I've had a lot of pizzas, and that is by far, honestly, genuinely, the best pizza in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. And they have beer there as well.
They do. Fantastic beer in Iceland. So in this image, this is actually another house, not the house that we go to in winter, but this is a house that I found that I can use in summertime. So we're hoping in the future to take guests to stay here in summertime to photograph the cubs. I've been told that there's actually an Arctic fox den underneath the house, but there's also dens nearby as well. And it's a fantastic location, and it's really private, so you don't get tourists walking past, and also you have the luxury of staying in a nice warm house as well. Well, relatively warm. It is Iceland. Apart from Arctic fox, we're also hoping to run tours to photograph puffins in snow. And I took this shot last year when I did a recce trip to Arctic Norway. There's an island in the far northeast of Norway where you can go, and it's right deep within the Arctic Circle, and it's the only place in the world where you can photograph puffins in snow reliably. You can't. It does sometimes happen in Iceland, but it's more hit and miss. But in this location in Norway, it's almost guaranteed every year. So last year we went, and this is a shot of a puffin standing in snow collecting nesting material. This one, I love the pose in this one where it's looking straight at me. This one, it was hunkered down in a snowstorm. This one, they actually reaffirming the bonds. So what puffins normally do is they come together and kind of kiss each other before they mate at the start of the season. And it was snowing at the time as well. And in this shot, I managed to get a close-up of one preening standing in snow. But I really like this image because you can see the feather detail on the underside of the feather, which is quite unusual. And also the white surroundings makes it more minimalist, which I really like those kind of images. And basically that's it. So this is our website. So if you want to send us any questions or have any queries about tours, then you can send them to us through this website. But if anyone's got any questions, then let me know now.